So this is video two. I promised to put together a video series to help you connect with your starseed origins, to really unravel your purpose and why you're here, your mission. I don't just mean from a human perspective, I mean from your soul's perspective, okay? So one of the aspects I really want to talk about today is, are you a starseed? Okay. This for me was such an interesting revelation. I often can't speak human words. For me, when I found out that I was a starseed. So I came across this term a while ago now, I would say probably maybe 5 years ago. And I was really, really interested in this term, and I kind of went into a rabbit hole of learning all the things and consuming information. Back then, I was a big consumer of information and wanted to know everything about this topic that was just kind of sprung out of nowhere. So I really want to help you unravel this, and this has really been most of my life work. Getting to the stage now where truly understanding that we are multidimensional, infinite beings, and I really want to explore this with you now. So, um, I see there's a real difference between someone who relates to being an empath or intuitive or an intuitive, or someone who relates to the term starseed. Okay, so empaths and intuitives are usually people who have developed extra special coping mechanisms. So they've been through some kind of trauma, and usually that trauma is something they've been through as a child. But the trauma could also relate to past lives or other lives. Yeah. So when I think of the term empath, and I did a podcast episode on that before, but when I think about the term empath, what comes into my head now is the term wounded soldier. And the reason why is because when I resonated with this term so much, it was when I had a lot of wounding to work through, a lot of trauma. This isn't without shame or judgment on anybody, but for me personally, I could recognize within the traits of being an empath that those were trauma wounds, and I could trace them back to where they'd come from. And then, secondly, what healing I needed to do in order to move through those trauma wounds. Yeah. So I personally wanted to go a bit deeper on this. And when I came across the term starseed, these generally are souls, humans, or souls who are put into human bodies who aren't from this human world. And usually they come into this world with extra special gifts. Now, many star seeds will not be aware of their gifts most of the time. So when we are put into these human bodies at the womb of creation, we have a veil that is put over our heads to enable us to forget. Now, a lot of people see this out there as like a negative thing, but the reason why this happens to us is because I'm saying they, the creator, however you view the creator, want us to experience human life. They want us to experience this human lifetime, this timeline, in its uniqueness, and contained. And they don't want us to remember other lives, past lives, other timelines. And the reason why is because a lot of people will get homesick, and you might actually experience this yourself, or you may have experienced it yourself. Yeah. So this veil is put over your head to kind of make you forget. And sometimes energetic um blocks, seals are put into your body, your physical body, so you do switch off these gifts as well. Okay. So many of us can be empathetic, because if someone tells us something sad, we can put ourselves in their shoes and we can feel empathy for them and offer advice. But when we walk away, it doesn't affect us physically, emotionally, or spiritually. But being a starseed is completely different. Often you can feel the energy from people. So I used to refer to this as my superwoman calling. I don't get this so much anymore because I don't have a codependency wound that is so pulling me to help every single being that I come across. Okay, but I did have this at the beginning. Um, so you may feel like at times you're physically and mentally taking on board other people's problems, and even worse, you like leave or walk away, and you can still feel those worries and concerns. It's almost like they're part of you. They're part of you as a person. So what I wanted to do in this podcast episode is really just explore the characteristics that I see of being a starseed. Okay. In this podcast, I'm going to just explore the first five. And then in the second podcast, video three, I'm going to explore the second five. I really want you to think of these in detail and see whether these apply to you. So the more points you relate to, the more of the 10 points you relate to, the more important it is for you to learn how to heal yourself through your own trauma that you've been through. So, so important, right? So one of the things that we do here at the Cosmic Surgery is we actually, we do two things. We give people the tools so that they can heal themselves in our online monthly membership called Evolve. And secondly, we do provide one-to-one healing sessions where we actually do the healing for you. Okay, but it's super, super important to heal through that trauma. The second thing is really important to protect and clear your own energy. Okay, so rapid energy clearing is a process that I've personally developed myself. It's something that I needed to develop because back when I started working with spiritual coach, she had a very serious demonic attachment which transferred to me. And I had to learn this lesson, this very stinky lesson, because if you've ever had an attachment or something hanging around you that's from the demonic realm that's messing with your emotions and all the things, you would know how serious that can be. If you haven't, amazing. But if you have and you're feeling low on energy and these type of things, and usually you've got an attachment. And so I had to learn this lesson of having this attachment so then I could learn how to protect my energy. So then I could learn how to clear my energy and then I could pass these tools on to you. So super, super important that I had to go through that. The other thing is it's really, really crystal clear, important to be crystal clear on your boundaries. Yeah, not only with other entities, but also with humans. Because I say this in with love and kindness, but the majority of humans are only in it for themselves. That's how they're programmed, that's how they're wired. They're not looking to put someone else's feelings before their own. They're looking and they're programmed to keep themselves alive. And a lot of humans are in survival mode. And so it's super, super, super important if you are in this work, you're in this zone of helping, of guiding other beings, that you have your boundaries in place. And what that looks like is ensuring that you know exactly how to fill your own cup before you start filling other people's cups. Okay. So we're going to delve deeper now into the characteristics of a starseed. Okay. So number one, starseeds often feel homesick and have no reason why. Okay. So I don't know if you relate to this. I know I did personally. You may have even questioned, for example, whether you were adopted at birth, and you certainly are the black sheep of the family. You may have a quiet sense that you came from somewhere beyond this planet, and you can imagine your physical appearance from prior lives in other realms and in other worlds. So you may even have like really vivid dreams or memories or flashbacks of these lives. You may have even seen yourself as another creature and thought, wow, that's interesting. I saw myself in a dream. You may have even met your higher self, for example, that looks completely different to you. All of these memories and these dreams are really fascinating. And you may be fascinated by the night sky the moon, the stars, the sun, the sun, the elements, wind, fire, water. Oh my God, it was so beautiful. And you often probably have vivid dreams and visions of a world beyond this planet. And often you feel homesick about a world you don't even know exists. And you may even feel homesick about family members that you have never met in this 3D physical human reality. Yeah. So all of this feeling of homesick can often lead to someone being a loner, an introvert, someone who practices just being on their own all the time. And oftentimes that can be a really, really important part of this process. A really, really important part of this spiritual growth process is learning how to be on your own and enjoy that and love that and thrive in that energy. But yeah, a lot of star seeds get stuck in this place where they mistrust themselves, they mistrust others, they don't have intimate relationships for fear of being hurt again. And so oftentimes they can feel this homesickness and feel really alone in this world. So if you relate to that, you're not alone. Okay, so number two, star seeds absorb other people's emotions. Okay, so star seeds are highly attuned to other people's moods, good and bad. They feel everything, sometimes to an extreme. They take on negativity such as anger or anxiety, which is exhausting. And also on the positive side, if they're around joy, peace, and love, their bodies take these emotions on as well as their souls expand and flourish. Yeah. So, um, what I see this is like most humans in in physical form, have access points in their aura. So our aura is the light that goes around the outside of our human body, okay, the physical body. And that aura usually appears different in different colors depending on what stage of our journey that we're at, how much healing we've done, our mood at that time, our emotions. It can appear all different colors and all different ways. And so that aura, that light that goes around the edge of our body, our physical body, should naturally protect us from taking on other people's emotions and other people's energy. But yet, a lot of us have what we call at the cosmic surgery access points in our aura. And we call them access points because these access points have been incurred um, from usually a trauma wound or a traumatic death in another lifetime. Yeah, in a past life, as you call it here on Earth. And so when you've got an access point in your aura, what happens is you are easily affected by energy because you've got basically like a hole in your body, okay, where you're leaking energy, you're leaking motivation, you're leaking all this like goodness out of your body. And also what happens is it makes it really difficult for you to expand because it's kind of like trying to fill up a sieve with water. That ain't gonna happen. You can't fill up something with holes in it. And a part of what we do here at the Cosmic Surgery is we help beings learn how to heal and seal their own access points, and we do that sealing and healing for them. So it's really, really important that you know that this characteristic is actually just something that needs healing. Okay. Okay, so number three, again, go further on this about absorbing energy. Star seeds often absorb other people's energy. Star seeds can feel energy, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. You can walk into a room and tell within seconds whether the energy coming from someone draws you to them or pushes you far, far away. This process can often leave you feeling drained, empty, and you can feel the need to retreat alone to recharge your batteries. Okay, so I don't know whether you've like been in a big crowd of people and you just start picking up on their energy and it gives you like a feeling which feels like anxiety. A lot of star seeds really struggle with this, and this is why a lot of them tend to find solace, and they become like loners. They become introverts. They retreat to their own peace. They retreat to nature. I'm not saying all of these things are important, because they are, but a lot of the times it's because they haven't learned how to heal and seal these access points that we talked about before. Okay. So number 4, many starseeds often cannot relate to other humans. And small talk chat is a no-go. Yes. Oh my God. Yes, so much so. That's me. So unless you were talking to me about the universe, energy, channeling messages from spirit, the cosmic records, traveling to other dimensions, realms, or anything along those lines, then starseeds will usually not be interested in engaging. Okay, we find small talk really, really incredibly dense and oftentimes boring, and you'll just lose us. So you tend to come across as introverted, and you prefer one-to-one contact or in small groups. Yeah, so if you're the kind of person that prefers to meet up with your clients or your friends or your girlfriends, like on a one-to-one basis, you will usually have given yourself the label introvert. I usually tend to avoid labels because they cause all kind of problems, and they get you into all kinds of patterns. But you have probably along the lines called yourself an introvert on some level, okay? So you'll often talk yourself probably out of social situations where there'll be a requirement for small talk, and you've probably avoided many appointments with your hairdresser to avoid those small talk type of chats. I know I have avoided the hairdresser for so long. Like, I tend to buy my products from my friend who's a hairdresser, and I do my hair myself. Just because oftentimes I find it really awkward. Those kind of like, oh, how have you been chats, or where are you going on holiday chats. I just find them just a bit boring, and I just have to disengage. So number 5, this is the last characteristic that we're going to explore in this podcast together. So I'd like you to start thinking about how the other 4 relate to you. And if you feel you want to reach out to us via Facebook or by email, we'll drop our email in the podcast. Please do. Please do. Please share any questions that are coming up for you. And if you've got a question you want us to feature on the podcast as well, we can go ahead and we can answer that for you. So number 5, starseeds have been given gifts, have many gifts that cannot be put into human words. Okay, so I see this a lot online. A lot of humans tend to try and use words to explain their gifts. So you'll probably have heard terms like clairaudience, which is hearing voices. You probably heard the term clairvoyance, which is seeing visions. You probably heard the term clairsentience, which is recognizing feelings, and claircognizance, which is a sense of knowing, to name a few. I mean, there are so many, right? But you've probably heard a lot of these, what I refer to as clair terms. And I find any description, most of the human language actually, in fact, to be very, very, very limiting, because if you put a limit on what your gift is, usually you are limiting the gift itself, okay? So what I do is I just use the term gifted usually. I have limitless gifts that I can't even put into words what they are, and that is where the power is in this journey. It is removing the need to put yourself into a box, removing the need to explain yourself, removing the need to explain what your gifts are. The more you can do that, the more expansion you will have with ease and grace. So I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to drop my email in this podcast, the one for our cosmic surgery. And I would love to know from you, like, how many of these characteristics that we talked about do you relate to? How many do you not relate to? Are there any coming up for you that you're like, no, that doesn't relate to me? And then three, I'd love to know if you've got any questions. If you've got any questions that you think would be really, really useful for us to answer, for us to channel into, that would help you and it would help the universe, help the human beings here. So let me know. I'd love to know. And we'll drop our email and you can get in touch with us that way. So sending you love, light, and miracles. Mwah.